We have seen 500 kilo plus deadlifts fall multiple times, and we are on the verge of seeing a 500 kilo squat. But would a 500 kilo raw bench press ever be possible? What would the perfect human, the specimen of a human being actually look like for a 500 kilo raw bench press to be possible? Today I'm creating Frankenstein's bench press monster, and I will be breaking down the three biggest anatomical advantages for bench press, and more importantly what you can actually do about each one of these if you weren't born with them. Because most of this stuff you can't change, but some of it you absolutely can. So let's get into it. If I want to create the Frankenstein's bench press monster, the first thing I would slap on would be short arms. Not all, but many of the world's best bench pressers have relatively short arms. When you watch this guy's bench press, the rep is over before you even realize. And let's take a look at Jonathan Keiko, Anthony McNaughton. I'm so jealous. This is one of the biggest genetic advantages an athlete can have in the bench press, simply because the bar has to travel less distance from the chest to the lockout, and generally, the less distance the bar has to travel, the less tiring it is for the body. But less range of motion is just one of two reasons, and the second reason is leverages. Torque is the force multiplied by the distance from a pivot point, and your shoulder is basically acting like a lever the entire time you are bench pressing, and a shorter arm means that the bar is closer to your shoulders, which means the shoulders have to work less to put the weight up. That's why you'll see guys with short arms put up numbers that almost look unfair. So what can you actually do if you weren't born with T-Rex arms? You can't shorten your arms, of course. I'm sorry to tell you if you didn't know, but you can do the next big thing, which is widening your grip. The widest you are legally allowed to grip in the APF is with the pointer finger on the ring, and you are thinking, all my problems are solved and I'm ready to bench 180 kilos. Wait for a second, wait. Going wider doesn't automatically make you stronger. I used to think that too when I started powerlifting, but when I went wider, I was feeling more unstable and I was actually weaker than the grip I'm using right now. That is ring finger on the ring. For some people it's a huge advantage, for others it actually puts them in a weaker position. You don't have to go to max width if you want to widen your grip to benefit from it, but it's definitely worth experimenting with it and giving it some time to see if it's better for you. Just don't assume wider grip is 3 kgs for everybody, because that's not the case. Okay, so we slapped on the T-Rex arms, and step 2 is to give our monster a huge chest or a huge rib cage. This one works on the exact same principle as short arms, just from a different angle. It shortens the distance the bar has to travel. If your rib cage is deeper, your sternum sits higher off the bench, so the bar simply doesn't have to come down as far before it touches your chest. Even if you had like 2-3 centimeters in difference, it would make a big difference, because every inch matters. It doesn't sound like much, but it can make a noticeable difference on your position and range of motion. On top of that, a thicker rib cage gives you a bigger back, and a bigger back gives you a more stable base of contact with the bench. That means better stability, better force transfer, easier to stay tight through the whole rep. But what do you do if you don't have a rib cage like a grizzly bear? Not everyone is born with a huge rib cage, and that's just bone structure, and you can't change that part. But this is actually one of the 3 points in this video where you have a lot of control over. You can't rebuild your skeleton, but you can add muscle mass. And bench press might be one of the lift out of the big 3 where raw mass on your frame plays a bigger role on how much weight you can move. And more size on your chest, back, and traps equals more weight on the bar and less range of motion. And of course, more mass on the triceps helps too. Your pecs are your prime movers for the bench press. This means that they are the main muscle that moves the weight in the bench press. Getting a bigger chest not only means that you are decreasing your range of motion, but you also have more potential to move more weight. But also, getting a bigger back and a bigger traps matter too. Your traps and back are literal mid cushions you lay on and make your touch point higher, and they also help you stay locked in and stable through the whole lift. So, if you're chasing this advantage, the answer isn't bone smashing or biohacking injections. It's putting on size, ideally muscle mass, even though a bit more bacon could help you too on the bench press. Alright, so chest and back actually trainable. Last point is a little trickier, but stick with me. Arch monster torso. If we wanted to create Frankenstein Julius Maddox, if we wanted to create Frankenstein Julius Maddox, we would slap on short arms and a thick rib cage, and unironically, that's how Julius Maddox is built. And the last thing to put on our specimen of a human is to build his torso in such a way to be able to bend more and build a better arch. Your ability to arch on the bench press comes down mostly to your spine, specifically the length of your upper back compared to your lower back. If your upper back is shorter, you can typically pull off a way bigger arch, and a bigger arch does the exact same job as short arms and a thick chest. It lifts your chest higher off the bench, which shortens the bar path even more. This one is a bit more indirect than the other two. It's not making you directly stronger, but it's letting you set up in a position that makes the whole lift mechanically easier. And some people's spines just allow for it. Others don't, and that's just life, and life is not fair. So how can you actually improve this? Many people think that you need more mobility in the lower back to get a bigger arch, but this is wrong. The arch comes from your thoracic spine mobility. You can't change your skeleton, but you can absolutely work on your mobility to get closer to the maximum arch your body allows. A few exercises that actually help here, and you can try these, are thoracic extensions on a foam roller, side-lying thoracic windmills, and a stretch like a cobra stretch. This is a bit more on the lower back, but it helps out in other areas too. And doing this for a few sets before and after your training will help you become more mobile and increase your arch. And if you think arching, that's cheating. A lot of people are not arching because they're afraid they will be made fun of on the internet, but the internet is not a real place. A little bit of arching is not cheating, and it will help you lift safer and more efficiently. And you will be the one laughing in the end, making fun of everyone when they blow out their shoulders for overstressing them because of bad positioning while laying flat on the bench. So there you go. Short arms, thick chest, and a spine built for a big arch. String all these three together and you've basically built the perfect bench press machine. Realistically, most of us aren't getting all three and we are stuck in bench press poverty, but two of these 3 points you have real control over. You can build the muscle mass that shortens your range of motion and make you stronger in general. You can't rebuild your spine, but you can chase the mobility that lets you use your arch more efficiently, get into a better position, and lift safer. Become the bench press monster you deserve to be.